I now recognize Dr. McCormick from Georgia for 5 minutes of questions.
Dr. Auwaerter, you said in your testimony that investigations into the origins of COVID-19 should be objective and driven by appropriate scientific and intelligence experts who present unbiased findings that are not politicized. According to evidence in previously released emails on February 8, 2020, Dr. Anderson, who authored Proximal Origins, stated, "Our main work over the last couple of weeks has been focused on trying to disprove any type of lab theory." Would you consider this statement objective and unbiased?
I really don't have enough of a frame of reference to really make a comment on a single statement.
All right, let's switch then. You talked to, you cited a couple papers last summer in Science that talked about the evidence of natural origin. These papers claim to show dispositive evidence against lab leak. Now, I went to medical school. I'm an ER doc. I served lots of patients during this pandemic until just recently. And I know how viruses work. They're specific to species for the most part, correct?
They often are, but not always. There are some that are, coronaviruses are probably one of the most widely dispersed amongst the animal kingdom.
Okay. And given, if we use the origins of a species that was in the wild that came to human contact and gave us the virus that in question, wouldn't that virus still exist in that species in the wild?
Well, I think that it would be likely the case.
Right. Chances are. That's a good answer. Thank you.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So how many species in the wild have we captured that still have this coronavirus in them? Because that would be a very easy thing to do, given its wide dissemination in the human population and its proximity to Chinese wildlife. How many wild animals have been captured with this coronavirus present in them currently?
The answer is no, but on the other hand...
Thank you. No, that's okay. I appreciate it. So basically, I'm talking about from a scientific standpoint. We understand as a virologist and as a student of virology that a good professor taught me, just like yourself, who just said that the evidence is that diseases just don't go away in populations that are contained in the wild. And yet we've extensively tried to capture. The Chinese government would benefit greatly from showing us that this exists in the wild and came to human population, yet not one evidence of a certain species, whether it be dog or bat, has ever been shown to have this virus that somehow or another transferred to human. Yet that is our main evidence and theory to disprove that, albeit the Wuhan lab that actually stated what they were going to do and then had the same problem occur, that's a less likely chance in your mind. Is that correct?
Well, I think the hypotheses remain very open at the moment.
So which one do you think is more scientifically based on what we just discussed?
Well, I'm not privy to intelligence community information.
So you don't have an opinion?
Well, I think it is more likely at the moment, just based on my reading, of a zoonotic, that is an animal-based.
So based on the fact that...
we need to attend to both.
So you would tend to favor the hypothesis, even though it has no proof whatsoever that it actually exists in the animal genome, or that you're going to favor that over the fact that a Wuhan lab that said they wanted to do this and then had an outbreak about the same time, that's less likely. Got it. First of all, when you talk about having trust, that's the most important thing you just stated in answer to Mr. Ruiz's statement. The most important thing is trust. How do we build trust when there's no transparency from the CCP when it comes to investigating the origins of this disease? How do we build trust based on your statement?
Well, I think amongst scientific communities, that is probably not as high a barrier, but for the politics, I'd have to leave to others.
But you just stated that's the most important thing.
Correct.
But yet we don't have transparency on something that would be pretty easy to investigate if we had transparency, correct?
Again, I would leave to others foreign policy.
But scientifically, right? We need to have transparency to investigate something, correct?
Absolutely.
Okay, and we don't, right?
Well, I think this has been brought up.
Okay, so we agree on that we have no transparency on the one thing that we need trust on to investigate the less likely cause of this disease. So it's just totally coincidental. So with that, I will state that he pretty much agrees with me when it comes to the origins, just doesn't want to admit it. Thank you very much. I yield.